moment is that moment between Nella and Nigel last night. Let's take a look.
Obviously, now we've met Nigel and stuff, and he's a cool guy.
He's all right.
He's all right, but it is hard to forget what you've seen, like on the outside world.
Yeah.
Oh, bless him, he's here.
Yeah.
Nigel, we were just speaking about you.
Oh, gosh, that can't be good.
I love that. Oh, bless him, he's here. I do love Nella. So, did she do the right thing in owning up about talking about him behind his back?
Well, I think, yes, she did. And I was just so impressed at her maturity. You know, to think of a girl, you know, in her mid-20s having to navigate an ex-MP, you know, Nigel Farage. She must have been thinking so many options of just being able to get out of it by going, let's talk about something else. Oh, anybody fancy a cup of tea? You know, those sort of versions of just getting out of that conversation. And instead, she thought a little bit more mature than I was at that age anyway. Let me just let him know that we are talking about you, but actually we're not saying anything bad. We were just saying what a cool guy you were.
The thing is, though, that's because she was. I mean, I still haven't forgiven her for Fred, I'm afraid, so I'm not... But anyway, I know that she owned up to that, but she was saying a nice thing about him. It's if she'd been calling him a really horrible name and if he'd walked up.
But it was the surprise that
different.
She thought she wouldn't...
Yeah, but I think she doesn't really care what people think anyway, personally.
But I fundamentally disagree. Yeah. But anyway, please, go on.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's the most awful situation. It's like, which happened to me recently, when you put the wrong message on the wrong WhatsApp group.
Oh, God.
And you think, shall I leave it? Because if I delete it and they've already seen it... I mean, it wasn't really a horrible thing.
No, it wasn't a horrible thing.
Something that I wouldn't shared with the actual person. And then all night long, I just lay thinking, if that person does come and say, I saw what you put, me trying to think what I was going to say and then just digging my grave deeper and deeper and deeper as it went. And only just recently, I was talking to this lady. And I said, oh, and I didn't know her from a bar of soap. And I said, and what's your name? And she said, it's Susan. And then I said, oh, lovely to meet you, Susan. This is Lincoln's my husband, blah, blah, blah. And then later on, I was right beside her and I heard her saying to my husband, she didn't remember me at all. I was horrified. I've spent loads of time with her. She didn't remember me at all. She even asked me what my name was, and then she turned and saw me, and I went, I meant your surname, Susan. Of course, I knew it was Susan. No idea.
Nicely recovered, nicely recovered.
You hate hurting people's feelings, don't you? You do.
But also, Nella is on national television, by the way, so she probably knows also that you know, we can all see that she's talking about him, so it would look a bit disingenuous.
But I don't know if she's aware as much as we are that everything's being recorded all the time. You know, there's only
you do forget.
But also, she wasn't. She was actually going to say, I thought I wasn't going to like him, but actually I do.
Yeah, but it wasn't like the real conversation.
But you've had a situation, haven't you, where someone's mistaken you for someone else?
That's a terrible conversation. I was doing Strictly way back, and in Blackpool, funnily enough, I was having a little bit of a cool down. I went out for a cup of tea just to try and calm down after my dance-off, and I could hear my name being mentioned by some of the crew, and I didn't really know them that well, and they sort of smiled, and then they did that. We just said her name, and I then said, did I just hear you mention my name? And then the girl went, oh, we were just talking about how I work on the spotlights and I follow you on the dance floor, and I think you're great. And I was like, oh, wow, great. And she said, and we just wanted to ask you this one question. What were it like going out with Simon Cowell? And I went, I'm not Sunetra. I thought she was Sunetra. I'm not Sunetra. And I literally had to say, I'm not Sunetra. And they were like, oh. And I was like, I've been on the show 7 weeks and you've been following me on the spotlight.
That is hilarious.
I
know, I'd say when I think of Sunetra, I definitely don't think of Sunetra. So that is a very good one.
Although you have got fern leaves behind you.
Yes,
Yes, that's true. We could put them here. Right.